All right, we are live and ready to go. So, hey everyone. Today we are talking with Mendy Applegate, who is the owner of the Honeydew Checklist. So, very excited for everyone to learn a little bit today about what Mendy does for her clients, and then we're going to dive into some real specific things today on some of the clients and businesses she's working with and I'm working with, and some of the things that we're really seeing in the market. Mendy, starting off, I'd love for you to just kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit more about what you do and who you help.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. So, Mendy Applegate, I'm in the Oklahoma City area, but I work coast to coast. I work a lot with small businesses, usually solo entrepreneur or micro companies, primarily under $1 million a year. So, there's a few facets to my visits to my business. Company started in 2020. And when I first started, I was doing a lot of virtual assistant services, bookkeeping services, because my background is oil and gas accounting and operations. So that's what I've done for the last 15 years. So basically helping people build out their back office support, looking at contracts, their scheduling systems, a lot of project management, a lot of accounting services. So that's kind of what I did for the first few years of the business. And the business has shifted quite a bit over the last 5 years. So at this point, what I do, I still do a lot of accounting services, but I'm really, really big into business education. In May of this year, just from all the companies that I've worked with, I just see company after company not truly understanding their fundamentals and the foundations of a company, right? Most of us start a business, we have a passion, there's something we want to do, and we start a company, and people don't understand the liability side, the legal side of actually setting it up correctly, or just setting up foundations where as you grow, you don't continually hit pain point after pain point because you haven't set up your structure correctly. So that's what I did in May is I built a online business platform. It's a membership. And what I do is I walk small businesses through the foundations and fundamentals. So primarily most of my people are under 3 years old in the course, but some of my companies are larger. They've been in business 10 years, but they grew so fast. That's where they're struggling now is that they started making money and they're like, oh, here we go. But then now they're running into these speed bumps because they're growing too fast and they don't have any of the foundation set either. So I like to walk people through a curriculum. I mean, we cover everything from business structures to accounting to time management, logos and branding, you name it. We cover that in this course. So I give you curriculum, you get action items, all the templates are included, industry referrals are included, and you actually get a live call. You get a live call with me, and you also get a live call with everyone else that's in the platform. You get to build this community. So people get to sit and ask the questions. And I say that all the time. I love networking, but for me, the mastermind piece of running a business is the side that really helps my business grow. When I can sit down and have conversations with other business owners and go, I did this and I got zero sales from it. And I thought I was going to knock it out of the park, right? And nothing
Yeah,
happens when you sit down and have those conversations with other business owners. It completely changes how your business runs. So,
big time.
that's why I do that. I mean, a lot of business education workshops. I have one. I'll put the plug in tomorrow, 10:30 Central. It's a free webinar talking about 10 things that I see businesses do every single day, and they're blowing up their own companies and they don't even realize it. So I'd love to have people, but I'm all about empowerment. I want to add value. Like there are people who are willing to support you and help you grow as a small business. I'm very much a community over I'm a more collaboration over what am I trying to say, Drew? You know what I'm trying to say.
Relationships over
Yeah, that's the
relationship.
word I was trying to say. Yeah, and I mean, we can do this, and we can all help each other.
Big time. Yeah, and I think the mindset when you and I first talked, the mindset of that understanding that relationships are really the key to everything, especially as you're growing a business. And I think sometimes when you are starting a business, when you are in that 1 to 3 year mark, your head's down so much. And what I mean by that is like you're focused on surviving and making
Yes.
money and figuring it out. And a lot of times it's hard to take that step back. And I think your perspective on coming in from the outside, it's always easier, right? And that's very similar to when I work with business owners. I tell them, I'm like, I'm probably not going to tell you a lot of things that you don't already inherently know. But a lot of times you haven't even really thought about it because you're so focused on the day to day, which is normal, right? And I think that that's such a key in that. So being able to have other people that are going through it with you in that community, I think is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun. It's fun. I love the aha moments, right? When you get to see people go, oh, and for me, I've always been one of these like knowledge is power type people where it's
Big time.
you don't need to do it in your business, but you need to understand it, right? Like I don't want you doing the social media. You can hire that piece out, but you need to understand why it's important, how it affects your business, what it's doing, what's your rate of return, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very much I'm very much a delegator too, where it's you need to understand why you're doing it, not just because oh well so and so. I hear it all the time. People say that, oh my God, it makes my eye twitch every time I hear it. Someone told me just go set up an LLC. And I'm like, for the love of God, that is the worst advice you can give a small business because by you doing that, you don't even understand what you're doing. You don't understand the benefits of it. You don't understand the tax liability that's going to come with that. You don't understand. And so for me, that's where it's like, I want you to have the education where you actually understand what you're doing. And then at that point, make a decision, right? So and that every aspect that's what I try to bring to the table.
And I think you hit on something there too that I've kind of seen both ends of the spectrum, right? So you have the founders, the owners that they want to do absolutely everything, right? And then there's the other side where it's the founders are almost trying to delegate too soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that also is a tightrope walk a little bit as well, and everybody's going to be different depending on the people around you. But I do think finding that happy medium is important, especially in that growth phase, right? Because if you do everything yourself and you can't ever delegate, well, then your business isn't scalable. And two, if you delegate too soon, you like use the example of the social media person. It's like, well, you can hire the social media person, but like what direction are you giving them? What are their objectives? Like are you trying to drive them to your website? Are you trying to drive them to a funnel page? Are you trying to just create more likes and branding, right? Like what are their objectives? Because if you can't give them that perspective from a leadership standpoint, then they're also going to fail too, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a happy medium that it's hard to find, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not simple.
Hashtag life goals, right? I mean,
Right.
I mean, balance. Like, and I mean, everyone talks about, we all want to have a work life balance when we're self employed. And I think we all struggle with that. I mean, there are some months where I'm like, I am killing this. And there are some months I'm like, what is happening? But I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
normal. But I think for all of us, that is our goal. And so when I sit and I work with people and I sit down and have those kind of one-to-one sessions to really kind of focus in, I mean, and I say this all the time, like you have to figure out really quickly what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, right? I know my strengths. I know what I'm good at. I know I'm good at operations. I know I'm good at accounting. I'm extremely organized. I mean, there is no such thing as falling through the cracks. I mean, that is not something I struggle with, right? But I
Yeah.
have other people, and I mean, all of that is like, that's a no for them. I have my little creatives and my social media team and my hairstylist, and I have people like that, and they are all creatives. So they don't give 2 cents about accounting. I mean, right? So I think you just have to really sit down and figure out what are you good at? What are you not good at? Because when it comes to delegation, that is the part, right? Where I want to hand out every single thing that I completely suck at. And I want to focus on the stuff that I'm really good at. I want to, as a business owner, and that's what I tell people, as the business owner, my job is to create revenue in my company. So those are the tasks that I am responsible for doing. Anything else at that point it needs to be handed off at some point, right? Social media,
Big time.
bookkeeping, websites, click all the stuff, right? If it is not revenue generating as a business owner, that then more than likely that's a part that needs to be handed out. You need time to network your business. You need time to build strategy for your company. You sitting there sending emails that you are making $0 doing at that time, you're shutting your own, I call it the cap. Like you're capping your own company because you are truly not getting out of your own bubble. Most people get in their own way and they don't even realize it.
Big time. Yeah, it's funny. I have a tool that I use, and it's very simple. I don't know if we've talked about this or not.
We did talk about it, and you're
We
so
did.
right.
And it is the most elementary tool ever, right? I mean,
Yes.
you literally track your time for 2 weeks. You don't give yourself a grade, you just track time. And then you go back and give yourself that A, B, and C score, right? A is revenue generating. B is like, hey, this is necessary to run the business, but it's not generating revenue. And then there's those C-level tasks that are just taking up your time. And I've always taken that very simple structure and been able to actually use it, because if you're just using it to evaluate your time, well, it's not going to do anything. But a lot of times we can use that template or the information that you've written out. You can take all those C-level tasks now, and that's your job description. Like that's who you need to hire for, right? And a lot of times too, the one thing I've seen, I think we talked about this as well, but is when you have a tool like that, you may not be in a position at the moment to say hire that person, right? But a lot of times if you're driving revenue, and I've seen this so many times just in even businesses I've been a part of, is you're getting a lot of momentum, and then you have that like shit moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh my God, I need to hire somebody. Well, then you're going to take away your time from what's creating the momentum to go hire, train, figure out who the person is you're going to hire. By the time you've hired, now you've increased how much, you're spending now, right?
Right.
And you've also lost your momentum. And I
Yes.
saw that in the restaurant industry a ton, right? Like businesses, they get to that 5-year mark. Most restaurants don't make it that far, and just small businesses in general. And I think that is a massive factor, because it kind of is like nobody's anticipating what is that next step, who's the next hire I got to make sure that I can, instead of pausing and then reverting back to hire that person, you can pause and then continue to push forward, right?
Yeah, you're so right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think it's a killer, right? Because then all of a sudden your revenue that you had before, like if you're not the one driving revenue, then now you've incurred more expenses, you're decreasing revenue, and now you're in that, oh my God, I got to go do this again, right? But I think, and then there was one other thing you said that I thought was so key is, I think as business owners, you hear this on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. It's like, I work 4 hours a day, or whatever that is, right? And like anybody that's starting a business, the first couple of years, like you're going to live in certain seasons of life. Like you're going to live
Absolutely.
in seasons where nobody hears from you, or you don't go get the drink, or you don't go out to lunch, or you don't, because you're so focused and you have to get where you're at. And I think sometimes we try and get to that point of that 4-hour work week or whatever dream that is, right? Too soon, right?
Yes.
And so I just think understanding you're going to go through seasons, and communicating those seasons to the people in your life, saying, hey, I'm not ignoring you, I'm in this season right now where I gotta shift my focus,
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Something you just said there about your three tier thing that you do. Something I tell people a lot is the 3 tier. I mean, I think everyone should be doing that in their business. The next step that I tell people is just pick 3 things. Pick 3 things that you are doing repeatable every day, every week, and go ahead and write those down as you do them. So if you see this one thing popping up under your C category, go ahead and sit down and write the procedure, right? Write the SOP on it. Because like you just said, the second you decide to hire, now even that part is one more piece that you're going to have to figure out. So if
Right.
you can do it in the beginning where it's, okay, I know I need to hire. What is my onboarding process? And I have an onboarding process. It is an 8-step thing. Every single client I onboard, this is the steps that we go through. That is written down in an SOP. And and that's the beauty. Like I have 4 small companies that work for me, right? And I have pieces for every single. I mean, they all do something different, but you know what? this is what they do, and there's their SOP. And I am never having to babysit them because they know what the procedure is, they know how I want it done. And that is where you start scaling, right? So if people are not thinking through that process as they're working through all this stuff as they're growing, it's definitely something you need to get on the radar pretty quick.
Yeah. And I think too, as you were saying that, there's a lot of times I've had conversations where the conversation is like, hey, I know I need to hire somebody, but the thought of having to hire them and train them and because those pieces aren't in place, right?
Hmm.
And so I think sometimes breaking those little things up like you just suggested is so critical because then it doesn't become a big, oh my god, I got to create the hiring and the onboarding and the
Yes,
training and I got to
yes,
do that and still run my business. So a lot
yes,
of times it becomes easier to just not hire that person, whether it's a contractor, a full-time person, whatever that is, because the thought of the amount of time it's going to take
right.
is too much. So it's just easier to stay status quo, right?
Yeah.
So I've had that conversation a lot and I think you're spot on. Like how do you break that up over time so that it doesn't become such a daunting task?
Absolutely. And that's what I tell people is start small. If you hire some virtual assistant, start at 5 hours a week, right? Start at 3 hours a week. I don't care what you start at, but start, right? Because
Yeah.
the more that you can start handing off, the bigger your business can get, you know? So, and you're right. It's like people go, oh, I can't afford to hire. And I'm like, have you really sat down and calculated how much money you're losing because you are doing all of these tasks that you could be handing out? Like for me, social media, I loathe social media. That is not my happy place, right? And I did it for years. And I was like, and you go through what am I supposed to post? And what do I need to say? And how do I create a reel? And like, I mean, I was working with my COO yesterday and she was doing something on her phone. And she's like, you just hit this button and this button. And I'm like, I don't know what you just said, but that's why I pay you. Like, I don't care what you just said either but I mean, because that's your job and I'm going to go do what I do, I think if you can get in the mindset of hiring out those pieces that you really struggle with, then it takes the weight off of you. I'm not procrastinating anymore. I'm not sitting there spending 2 hours trying to figure out social media when I could pay someone to do it and they'll have it done in an hour. And I don't, I mean, at this point, I'm like, just bill me because it
Right.
is so worth my time not to have to be in that kind of headspace.
Big time. And one of the things I want to add to what you just said as well too is the task of hiring somebody, right? A lot of times, and this is where and I'll be very honest, where I've struggled, especially in the first couple of years of DB Impact, is I didn't really have a clear vision of where I was going, right? And so like when you break that down is like, and people talk about it all the time, and I think there's different avenues of getting there, right? There's
Yes.
no one, in my opinion, no cookie cutter way of like,
Oh,
oh,
no.
that's go sit in the woods for a day or like everybody's different, right? But I think a lot of times our hesitation as business owners is we have to be the ones that know what to do, right? And so a lot of times if we're not sure of who that person really is or who that like the vision of that person in our business,
Yeah.
a lot of times we're just going to avoid it,
Yeah.
right? um
And
and I've
these
been
are our
guilty of that.
babies. That's the other,
Right.
like, these are our babies. Like we have worked really hard to get here. And that's the other piece is people don't want to hand it off either, right? They are
Right.
terrified to hand it off. And I get that. And I mean, I get it. But I'm like, what happens if they did 50%? Not 100. What if they did 50% and you still did 50%? Because that's what I do. I hire at 80% of certain tasks, but then it is still my responsibility that my name is on the door, right? So I
Yeah.
still go in and monitor it and check it and make sure everything looks good before it ever is finalized. But what does 50% look like?
Yeah, and that task that you just said is like instead of 100% or 5 hours a week, now it's 30 minutes a week, right? And that becomes something that just gets added into your calendar on Fridays or Mondays or whatever it is. And now that doesn't become something that's really pulling you away, but you're still running your business, you're still overseeing things. And I think the people
Well,
that
and they
try
need
and
to.
yeah, exactly. The people that try and give
Mhm.
away 100%,
Right.
a lot of times are the ones that wind up the person doesn't work out, right? Like, and that's usually what happens because there's no guidance, there's no oversight. And so, like I said, I think we kind of went full circle, like coming back to that happy medium, right? Of figuring those things out. Um, I would love to know a couple things, even in this like last year. And obviously, I mean, we're getting farther away from COVID and like that whole debacle that
Right.
happened. But what are some of the things that you would say, like with your clients, even in just the last year or even more recently, that have seemed to pop up that you're like, hey, this is how we've been able to help some of those clients? Is there anything reoccurring that you've been seeing?
I think one of the biggest things I notice, and I'm in that boat too, is COVID shifted a lot, right? A lot of people started working from home. A lot of people got laid off. A lot of people decided to start small businesses. And again, I mean, they started, but now, right? I mean, at this point, we're in year 5 or, between 3 and 5, depending on what's going on. Also, the economy. It is so expensive. So people who used to have 2 household incomes are now going down to 1. We have one person now working from home. We have one person trying to do a side gig from home. And again, it's that they have gone in because they're like, "Oh, I'm good at this." Well, I love that for you. But they truly have just not sat down and truly understood what they're trying to even build. They get the passion, and I mean, and I think the statistics is like 15%. 15 is the product or the service that you sell. 15% of your business, that's what it is. The other 85% is all the other pieces no one told you about when you started. The marketing and the HR and the operations and the contracts and protecting and I mean I mean I mean every and I mean like and again, I have a solid corporate America background. I did it for 25 years before I got laid off, right? So I knew what I needed to do when I started a business. I mean, I already had those fundamentals. I did it every day. I walked into departments, I set them up, I set up the policy and the departments and all. So, I mean, I knew, but even for me, I'm like, whoa, you mean I need to go network and now I have to market? I mean, and things will pop up, and I'm like, well, that's going to get added to the contract. Stuff that pops up, I never, ever would have guessed. People fighting with me over what is considered accounting services. I'm like, that's a thing. Like, who knew,
Yeah.
Drew? Right? Who knew? So
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
it's
So
mind boggling. But I think that's the biggest thing. It's just seeing that the economy is changing so much. People are tired. That's the other thing I see. People are tired of corporate America. People are tired. I mean, as we all know, I mean, people are pulling 60, 70, 80 hours a week on salary. And I mean, I'm like,
yeah.
you're making $5 an hour. Like, what are you doing? And so a lot of shifting and movement into self employment, which is a beautiful thing because that is what our country runs on. As much as I love my Amazon, that is not what's fueling this economy. But again, people but they're not doing it right. So and they don't understand what resources are out there. They're trying to do everything themselves. They're trying to Google themselves to death, which I mean I appreciate. But there are so many people. I mean, like even us, like the fact that we got connected. You're in Wisconsin and I'm in Oklahoma City right now.
Right.
We want to help, and
Yeah.
so when we can find synergy with other people and build a community where we can continue to support and encourage and provide resources so that everyone can make it, like that's what I want. That is my dream. I want to build my empire while helping other people do it.
I love that. I think just to add on a little bit to what you were just saying too is one of the things that I think I've seen the most is people kind of seeing a YouTube video or seeing an ad somewhere or wherever it is, right? Social media, TV, whatever. A lot of times the thing that frustrates me the most on my end of things, if I'm being honest, is I'll have conversations and it's like, oh, well, I just need to build a funnel and then it's all good. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? Like, are we talking about a website funnel that's like 4 different website pages? Are we talking about a funnel that is an ad from a form into your CRM? Like, we throw around a lot of these buzzwords,
Yes.
and to me, it's less about the buzzwords and more of the application of like, what is it A to Z that you're really trying to accomplish?
Yes.
And so going back to what you just said, which is like, oh, I'm not thinking about a lot of these things. There's a lot of tools that you can use, right? But a lot of times it's really the understanding of what is it you're trying to actually accomplish, and then what are the tools that are going to get you there the quickest and the most efficiently. And so I think that's a lot of what I hear and see is like, I get videos sent to me all the time, like, oh, check this out. And instantaneously in my head now, I'm like, hold on, like, let's really look at what they're doing. And is this worth you spending your money on it?
Yes.
Um, and that's the one thing I've seen a lot of people just get really caught up in
Hmm.
the 30-second video they saw on TikTok, and they're like, "Oh, this guy did it. It's easy." And it's like, "Well, he's just that's just a catchy, like he put together a really good video, right?"
Right.
Like, but there
Right.
was like 15 or 20 other pieces that are going to go into what happens after that they're not telling you about. And that's the one thing I would say for me is, especially as technology is increasing, is what are the fundamentals that you need in your business to then add new revenue streams? Because if you don't have a good foundation in your business, you're not going to be able to create and take the opportunity of those new revenue streams. Because once the foundations are there, instead of 2 weeks to getting to market on something new, it's 2 hours, right? Because everything's there and replicable. And that's just something, like I said, that I don't know if it's more that it bugs me, but I just don't like seeing people get taken advantage of and being
Yes.
told the whole truth of like, there's way more to this. There's 50 steps, not 3, right?
Yes. Well, and we talked about that yesterday on that conversation I had with JR, where it's, let's be very clear, right?
Yeah,
If it was that easy to own a small business, everyone on earth would own a small business. Like
right.
this is hard. Like this takes discipline and responsibility and grit and thinking on your feet. And I mean, this is not easy. So you're so right. If I'm going to go and just watch some video and here, build your, I mean, these people and they're like, I made $1 million today. And I'm like, I mean, kudos to you. But like,
Right.
that is not reality. That is, I mean, it is a hustle and a grind in order to do what we do. So you're
Big time.
absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, I wish it took 3 steps, but let's be clear, it does not take 3 steps
And
to do what we
I'm
do.
somebody that when somebody comes to me with something like, "Hey, I want to make X amount per day or whatever," I'm like, "Great," but like, have an understanding of what it's going to take to get there, the consistency it's going to take, the time, the effort, the longer season that you're going to have to live in with no
Yes.
like, those sort of things. And everybody's background is different too, right? And that's something that I think it's easy to compare yourself against those people on Instagram. Like, did they just go to a spot to get a photo shoot done? Like, do they own that stuff? Did they rent a house for a couple days? Did they, like, you're looking through you're looking through your phone at their highlight reel, not their life, right?
Absolutely.
And it's very easy to compare yourself. So a lot of times it's like you feel behind, and I've been notorious of that,
We've all done
right?
that.
Like,
Everyone
big
has
time.
done that.
Right, because you're looking at the 30-second video of the
Right.
person that is accomplishing X, but like you have no idea what they went through for the last 15 years, right? And so are you behind? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Like,
kind of
cheer for those
went a
people in
different
their
way.
winning season because you don't know what they were doing in their losing season.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know?
how many 2 a.m. mornings or 3 a.m. mornings,
Ooh.
or
Mm,
like getting up at 5 a.m. to do 5 things that you had to get done before 9 o'clock, whatever that is, right?
yes,
Those things are never documented, right?
correct.
And the only people that are going to know that is you and maybe a select few people around you, right? And so, but everybody goes through that. And to deny that or pretend like it doesn't exist,
Right.
I think is doing a lot of people a disservice, in my
Absolutely.
opinion.
Burnout is real, people.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I'm going to take a break because I'm over this at this point.
I've had a few Fridays like that where I'm like, I cannot do one more thing, and I just go hit golf balls for 4 hours because I'm
Good
like,
for
I just
you.
have to do something mindless. I should do it more. I don't, but I've had those moments of just like, okay,
You're
I
done.
I I can't have another conversation this week. Like I'm at that point. Like
Yeah.
nothing intelligent's gonna come out anymore, right? But as we wrap up here, I'd love to just, if there's any pieces of advice or things like that that, anybody that's watching or somebody that is maybe in that initial stage of thinking about a business, or maybe they just started one and they're, what are just a few pieces of advice that you'd like to kind of share with those individuals?
The first thing I would tell you is to start, right? Perfectionism is the killer of small business. You're not going to have it figured out. I mean, I've been doing this 5 years. I still don't have it figured out. I don't know if any of us have it figured out. It's a lot better, but I mean, don't not do it because you're trying to figure out the 9 million pieces, because those 9 million pieces are going to change every single week or every single month. That's the big one. The biggest thing I tell people is find a mentor. If there is something you are truly passionate about and you want to do it, find someone who's in that industry who is willing to help you and support you. That for me is like one of the biggest things, because we've been through the gamut. When people come to me, that's the thing, right? Like I had 25 years of corporate. I've been doing self-employment for 5 years. Trust me, I know this. Like I know how to make this work and how to run this. So find someone who can help you and support you and encourage you. Community is everything. Networking. I hear it all the time. I literally saw a post the other day on Facebook and she goes, I've been posting content on social media and I don't have any clients. How long is this going to take? And my response was, content is not going to get you clients. You need to get in your community, right? Relationships. And we all know it. If people don't know, like, and trust you, they're not going to refer you and they're not going to do business with you. If you're not
Agreed.
building an organic community, you are not going to make any money. You're just not. I mean, you're just another stranger, right? And that's what I tell people. There are a million people that do what you do, period. So, I mean, people have to get out of their own head that that I'm it. You're not. Like there are a million people. So you have to figure out, what are you good at? What is going to make you different? How are you speaking to people differently? I am a no fluff, no BS kind of girl. Period. If you are not someone who can handle a person like me, that's okay. I have a million people that I can refer you to. I have some amazing people I can refer you to, but if you kind of need that tough love, I'm going to get in your ass sometimes, I'm probably your girl. So I
Yeah.
think you just have to figure out your people and you're going to find your tribe. You're going to find those people and you all refer each other to, you all work together, you all refer each other, you find your people. And I think that's the fun part of what we get to do every day. So those are a few things I'd say.
I love it. Well, I think we should end it there
That's
because
okay.
I love that advice, and I think you're spot on with what you said there. So, well, Mendy, I truly appreciate your time, and I'm excited to continue to work with you and just see everything that you're building. So, yeah, I appreciate your time so much.
Absolutely. I can't wait for you to get to Oklahoma City.
I'll be back soon,
I
I'm
know you
sure.
will.